Part 6. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 51. Kyungsoon, good morning. Lin Zion looked at Kyungsoon Shijimu, who was standing, floating on the bedside, and said hello. If a normal person woke up and saw someone floating next to them, they would probably roll and crawl away from the place, or they might be too frightened to move. They would definitely not be as calm as him. Meow. Good morning, Ziobai, too. Getting up to take care of personal hygiene, when he came out, he found a breakfast on the table in the dining room. Haha, I didn't expect there is a conch girl in my family. It is an honor to serve my master. It seems that you have almost mastered your own power. Lin Zion looked at the perfect poached egg in front of him, but you have to remember that it is you who controls the power, not the power that controls you. Yes, Kyungsoon will remember the master's words. Okay, didn't I tell you, don't call me master, it makes me seem like a child abuser. Master, do you like someone more mature? Chihiro Shigeki immediately changed his form, and an adult version of Chihiro wearing a maid outfit appeared in front of Lin Zion. Ah, Lin Zion held his forehead, didn't I tell you not to trust Misaki Chibian's memory? Meow, Ziobai jumped out from the side and jumped on Lin Zion, biting his clothes. What's wrong with you? My lord Ziobai. Meow meow meow. Lin Zion glanced at Chihiro Shigeki, who was pretending to be unaware, and then smiled bitterly. Okay, I'll make breakfast for you later. I don't know what the two little guys are doing. Lin Zion, who was asleep, didn't know that the battle for master last night ended with Kyungsoon winning and Ziobai losing, so Ziobai was forced to take a back seat. After solving Ziobai's breakfast problem, Lin Zion felt that it would be a disaster for the two of them to stay together without him, so he took Chihiro Shigeki away. Although Kyungsoon Shigeki is not afraid of high energy such as sunlight now, she still needs to prepare an object for Kyungsoon to enshrine her soul. Otherwise, she will be floating outside all the time and will not be able to practice effectively at all. She can just let the wind out from time to time. He took out the weathered seal and said to Chihiro Shigeki, you stay here first, and I will help you build a house again when I have time. Kyungsoon, who has washed away her anger, is always well behaved and not as dull as before. Her eyes are full of agility. The suffering has not made her give up the pursuit of hope. She is a soul that longs to love and be loved. Lin Zion had strange feelings for her, because he knew that he was everything to her. The reality is always like this, kind people are beaten hard and bad people are tolerated. When they arrived at school, Lin Zion estimated that she wanted to see what the school had become, so he let her out. Kyungsoon, look, here is the teaching building, that is the gymnasium, and the laboratory building. It doesn't look like Tachibana Middle School anymore. Of course, the school owners spent a lot of money. If it's the same as before, what's the point? Master is right, Chihiro is stupid. Hey! Where did you learn this word? He came a little early today, so Lin Zion simply took Chihiro Shigeki to wander around the school. This is Building 3, you should still remember it. Lin Zion took her to the scene of the crime, and he didn't know whether it was accidental or intentional. Chihiro Shigeki didn't answer his words, just stared blankly at the location on the third floor. Looking at Chihiro Shigeki, who was a little scared, Lin Zion did not urge him. After all, this kind of reaction was normal after being used as a cash machine for so many years. Master! Chihiro Shigeki's body began to collapse again, and she hurriedly turned back to seek help. I'm here, I've always been here. Lin Zion smiled at her. Lin Zion had never thought that his smile could be so powerful. As if he was having a flashback, Chihiro Shigeki instantly stabilized his body and began to slowly recover. When she looked towards the third floor again, Lin Zion couldn't feel her uneasiness at all. Go ahead, I'll always be there for you. In fact, both of them knew that there was nothing there, and there were no accidents, because she was facing only herself. In the classroom, Lin Ziyan looked outside from the window. Some classes were having physical education classes. It was a bit hot now, so they were wearing ultra-short sports pants. They looked similar to Fatty, and their white thighs were almost shiny. Blinded his eyes. Classmate Shigeki Aoda, although I know that the female classmates outside on the playground are very beautiful, it is class time now, so please wait until after class. The teacher's words caused the whole class to burst into laughter, especially the girls, who looked at him with perverted eyes. Lin Ziyan glanced at the teacher on the stage. Who is he? What class is it now? Lin Ziyan's indifferent attitude made Shi Qiaolong very unhappy. Although I, Shi Qiaolong, am preparing to retire, I am an outstanding teacher after all. Why do you look down on me so much? And Lin Ziyan finally knew what class he was in now, mathematics class. He took out a brand new mathematics book from the books on the table. Because there were many books on his desk, Ishibashi Takashi realized that he didn't even take out the books just now. You come up here and do this question for me. If you can't do it, don't come to class. Lin Ziyan glanced at the question on the blackboard, put down his book, and walked up slowly. He solved the question in just 2 minutes. In fact, if he was not afraid of being too scary, he could write it directly, because when he walked up, he had already solved it. This, Zhongmu Qingtian is right. Although he didn't want to admit it, Shi Qiaolong still admitted Lin Ziyan's answer. I'm sorry, because of my question, I disturbed the teacher's class. Lin Ziyan is not a fool, there is no need to make enemies everywhere. No, Zhongmu's method of solving the problem is very good, concise, and clear. Shi Qiaolong also took the opportunity to back off, and did not mention what happened just now, but talked about the question. It's all because of the teacher's good teaching. The two people praised each other on the stage, and the people below the stage began to talk about it. Hey! Have you noticed that every time he goes up to do the questions, he seems to be able to solve them? Is he also a top student? Impossible. I've seen the entrance exam results. There's no one named Kong Mueoda in the top 20. Isn't the best student in our class Tsuji Tomi? Yes. Tsuji Tomi is beautiful, has good grades, and doesn't have a boyfriend. She's a perfect goddess. Don't you think Kong Mueoda is handsome? He's chatting and laughing with the teacher. Forget it. He was beaten up just after the school started because he pursued Tsuji Tomi. Yes. Yes. I heard that he was beaten badly. Hey. You're all off topic. Lin Ziyan was being polite to the teacher while listening to the conversation in the audience. A conflict was resolved at the beginning, and Lin Ziyan went back to pretending to be his student. The next class was sports class. Most of the class was looking forward to it. After all, they didn't have to go to class and could play. Before class, they had to go to the locker room to change clothes. Fortunately, he remembered and brought a set of sportswear. It is considered a kind of school uniform. Today's sports class is tennis class. The teacher briefly explained the basic rules of tennis and let the students form teams of 2. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. Boys and girls have separate classes. Physical education and this class are also separate. The two classes together happen to be one boy class and the other girl class, so there is really no welfare. There is another problem. Our protagonist, Lin Ziyan, has no one to form a team. Lin Ziyan took the racket and swung for a while. He found that no one wanted to form a team with him, so he just found a place to sit and watch them play. The venue is so big, and there are other people like him, standing or sitting, chatting on the side, but others have teammates, only he is alone. Lin Ziyan felt that someone was about to pat his shoulder, and he slightly twisted his shoulder to avoid this sudden hello. Hey! Classmate, the voice came later. Lin Zion turned and looked at the person who wanted to say hello to him. This person, has short hair that reaches his shoulders, and looks delicate, even feminine, prettier than most girls in their class, and he looks very cute when he smiles. If it weren't for his thin figure, normal voice, and obvious Adam's apple, Lin Zion would have really thought he was a woman. I declare Oslo. Yotsuki Hideki stood awkwardly, feeling Lin Zion's eyes lingering on him, but his performance just now made him not know what to say. Classmate, what can I do for you? Lin Zion also felt that he had to say something, otherwise both of them would be very embarrassed. This is the first time someone has given me a reward, so I'll commemorate it and thank my book friend Tang Yuji. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 52. Can I sit here? Hideki Yotsuki asked, folding his hands in front of him and bending slightly. Whatever, Lin Zion replied expressionlessly, but in his heart he wanted to complain about why you can be so cute even if you ask a question. I am Hideki Yotsuki from Class E. What is your name? Hideki Yotsuki sat next to Lin Zion and leaned over to ask. Kongmyo Qingtian, Class B. Lin Zion moved to the side because Lin Zion smelled a faint fragrance. Why do you have a scent? Aren't you a man? Shigeki-san, can you team up with me? Yotsuki Hideki put his backhand on the ground and leaned toward Lin Zion. Why? Because it's just the two of us who didn't form a team. Oh, Lin Zion finally knew the reason why he came to find her. Is it okay, Shigeki-san? Hideki Yotsuki looked at Lin Zion expectantly. After a while, he didn't get an answer from Lin Zion. It's still not okay. It wasn't that Lin Zion didn't want to answer him, but he was stunned. Okay, nice to meet you, Yotsuki Hideki-san. Lin Zion didn't care. It didn't matter to him whether he had teammates or not. It was good to have such a cute teammate. Really? Shigeki-san is so nice. Lin Zion did not answer his question, but gestured to the crowd surrounding the court. Yujiki-san, do you know those two people? That's Hiroshi Akamori from our class. He's on the school basketball team. He's handsome and rich. I heard that he receives love letters every day, but I've never heard of him accepting them, so he's very popular among girls. Isn't the person opposite him Hiragaki from your class? I don't know him very well. Hideki Yotsuki also has some potential for gossip. Lin Zion also saw Pingyuzi being pushed out. This Pingyuzi Lin Zion still knows that he was specially recruited by the school because of his excellent sprint performance. He is also good-looking and masculine. The girls in the class often discuss him, but he often has to train, and he is a good person. He was low-key, so Lin Zion rarely paid attention to him. No wonder there are so many people surrounding it. It turns out to be a battle between cashiers and chargers. Lin Zion listened for a while and found out that the whole story was probably because two classes were competing for the space, so one person from each class was invited to compete. Lin Zion could only sigh that it was great to be young and be free to look for trouble. After looking at Lin Zion, he was no longer interested. Pingyuzi was destined to lose. He probably rarely touched tennis. His steps were obviously not as relaxed as Chiu Xiaobo's. He was always being beaten. In Lin Zion's opinion, if it weren't for Chiu Xiaobo, as soon as he let the water go, Pingyuzi would have lost long ago. Lin Zion didn't understand how those stupid classmates thought of asking a sprinter to play tennis. Did they think that physical education students should be good at all sports? Lin Zion glanced at Zio Hideki next to him, and he looked at it with gusto. Do you also like Akamori Hiroshi? What did you say, Shigeki-kun? Of course not, I'm a man. Why are you blushing? Besides, Akamori Hiroshi is so handsome. Look at those girls lying on the protective net. Although they are in separate classes, the two are not far apart, and they usually overlap. Well, I'm just envious, and you're also very handsome. Wow. I'm so panicked when you say that. Then, amidst the cheers of the crowd, Chiu Xiaohiro defeated Ping Oka with difficulty and won the field. Lin Ziyan chatted with Xiao Hideki for a long time. Lin Ziyan found him quite interesting. Of course, it would be better if he didn't covet his handsomeness, shameless. Okay, get ready for get out of class to end. Xiao-san, please go back. Hideki Yotsuki stood up, patted his butt, turned around and leaned over to Lin Ziyan and said, well, Mr. Shigeki, please remember to add me as a friend. Even though she knew he was a man, Lin Ziyan still couldn't control his eyes and glanced at his collar. Ah! Come on, why are there still people like this in the world? Lin Ziyan invested 10,086 points of willpower and was immune to the temptation from Hideki Yotsuki. Okay, okay. I'm leaving first. Hideki Yotsuki took a few steps, turned around and gave him a turnaround kill. Lin Ziyan saw his smile and felt as if his heart was being grabbed. It was not a heartbeat, but a palpitating feeling, because Lin Ziyan felt that his willpower had been severely challenged. Lin Ziyan finally understood why no one in his class dared to team up with him. Such temptation can easily make people gradually become perverted. This world is too scary. I want to go home. Patting his cheek, standing up, and walking towards his class's team with head held high, Lin Ziyan felt that his will had been sublimated. After getting his phone back in the locker room, Lin Ziyan first sent a message to Miyazune-ri, asking her to go to his house in the afternoon. He didn't tell her the specific reason, but we would talk about it later. Then he added Hideki Yotsuki as a friend. The application was approved as soon as it was submitted, and Lin Ziyan also sent a few polite words. There is also a class meeting, and you can go home after it is over. Lin Ziyi has installed his sportswear and is ready to take it home and wash it. Aota-san. As soon as he left the locker room, he was stopped. When he saw Ryo Hosokawa chasing after him, Lin Ziyan stood there, waiting for her to come over and walk together. What's the matter? Who was the girl sitting next to you just now? The game just now attracted the attention of most girls, but Hosokawa Ryo only saw Lin Ziyan talking to a very beautiful person, and the two were talking and laughing. Although he knew that he had no right to manage Lin Ziyan's friends, Hosokawa Ryo still wanted to ask what the relationship between that person and him was. Lin Ziyan laughed directly after hearing it. That's Yotsuki Hideki from Class E, my teammate in sports class, a man. A man. This was Hosokawa Ryo's turn to short-circuit. He's cute, right? Lin Ziyan also took out his mobile phone, opened the chat software, and clicked on his avatar. Look. Lin Ziyan just complained about him and asked him if many men would add you as a friend if you use a selfie as your avatar. And his answer was, is Shigeki that kind of person too? Lin Ziyan thought about his possible expression, wow. He couldn't stand it at all, so he simply didn't continue. When did you add him as a friend? Hosokawa Ryo's focus was not on how Yotsuki Hideki looked. Just now, he was quite interesting. Lin Ziyan was completely unaware of his own suicide. By the way, is Hosokawa free after school? Lin Ziyan turned off his phone and said casually. Yes. Is Qingtian busy? Didn't I say that I'll treat you to a meal as a thank you for your care? Really? Where are we going? Hosokawa Ryo immediately got rid of the state just now and became energetic again. Well, where do you want to go? In fact, Lin Ziyan didn't know what delicious food was near the school, nor did he know what Hosokawa Ryo liked to eat. The only thing he had heard of was the dessert shop that girls often talked about, so it would be better to listen to her opinion. Didn't Qingtian say that there was a good dessert shop near the school? Hosokawa Ryo felt that she had to go to a dessert shop or a coffee shop to feel it, but she couldn't say it directly, so she could only hint at Lin Ziyan. Okay, I'll wait for you after school. Lin Ziyan entered the classroom first, still that arrogant look, but the boys were all mocking Hirakoshi Tomo, and the girls were talking about Akamori Hiroichi. Unfortunately, Hirokoshi was not in the classroom. Lin Zion felt that he was quite miserable. It was not miserable to be pushed out to play a monkey show. After all, Akamori boy was quite a good person. He did not lose badly. The worst thing was to take the blame after the show. However, looking at his expression at the time, he probably knew the consequences, but he still stood up. I don't know what he was thinking. Be a hero? No one would remember him even if he won, because they think he should win. But this has nothing to do with him, because Mayasori is here. Hello, classmates. I have to say that Mayasori is still very powerful when she is normal. Her thinking logic is clear. She quickly summarized the problems of this week, proposed the tasks for next week, and affirmed the work of several class committee members, especially Tsuji Tomi. Lin Zion thought it was quite funny that she was so happy that her tail was almost up, but she pretended to be indifferent. Fortunately, the class meeting ended quickly, and Lin Zion could finally run away. The next chapter is gone. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 53. Okay, I know you're nervous, don't make fun of me. You know exactly why I asked you to come. Really, you come to look for me every day when you don't have me, and you're afraid when you're about to meet. Both of you are sick. There's nothing there, don't talk nonsense. Okay, look behind you. Mayasori was disturbed by Lin Zion's sudden words. Her mind was like a mess, and even her breathing rhythm was messed up. Mayasori took a few deep breaths, then turned around carefully and found nothing. Shigeki Aoda. You lied to me again. When Mayasori turned around angrily, Lin Zion had disappeared, replaced by Chihiro in school uniform. And where is Lin Zion? He was on the rooftop with Ziobai. It was the first time they had met in many years. It was not good for him to be there as an outsider. In fact, it was mainly because he hated trouble. There was nothing on the rooftop. Lin Zion lay on the wall, looking into the distance, with one hand gently stroking Ziobai. Meow, Ziobai suddenly cried out. What's wrong? Lin Zion picked up Ziobai. He thought he was too heavy-handed and hurt Ziobai. Meow meow meow. I'm not worried about them. I'm afraid my house will be destroyed. Although Lin Zion had put multiple insurances on Shigeki Chihiro, he didn't know whether she would go berserk. After all, he couldn't completely control the soul. Meow meow meow. If I don't go, why should I go? I'm just a superfluous person. Meow. Then he was seen by Hosokawa Ryo while talking to the cat. Hosokawa Ryo came out of the telescope and frowned when he thought of the scene just now. What is Qingtian doing? Is he talking to the cat? Hosokawa Ryo had been watching from just now. She just wanted to know how long Miyazaki-ri would stay, but when Lin Zion appeared on the roof, she was still very confused because Miyazaki-ri was gone and Lin Zion seemed to be running away from something. Various problems made her mind a little confused, but as a detective, Hosokawa Ryo couldn't give up, and she was ready to take the initiative. To be honest, Lin Zion was also very sensitive to other people's eyes. If someone looked at him for a long time, he would definitely feel it. This is the instinctive reaction of a cultivator. But Lin Zion closed his five senses and only kept them at the level of ordinary people. Moreover, Hosokawa Ryo's gaze was not malicious, and he was also thinking about other things, so Lin Zion didn't notice it. In addition, no one in Neon knew him, and he didn't think that monitoring him would happen, so he didn't care. Lin Zion waited on the roof for almost 2 hours, and his legs were a little weak. In addition, Lin Zion also had restrictions on his body. He now added a lot of weight to himself, so he disliked the fact that Ota Michiko cooked less food, because he consumed a lot every day. If he didn't eat well, this method of suppressing the body would hurt his body. Lin Zion came down the stairs and looked at the back of Gongzong lying on the sofa, and Chihiro was standing next to her. Master Chihiro stood up and wanted to walk towards Lin Zion, but was stopped by him. After making sure that Gongzong Liwi was asleep, Lin Zion whispered, "Don't call me master in front of her, otherwise she will definitely think that I did something to you. I want to live a few more years." Chihiro covered her face and chuckled. "But I have already told Li Yang that you are your master. Don't talk nonsense. I didn't ask you to call me like this when I came out. I won't take the blame. You explain it to her yourself." Master is really heartless. Don't even recognize Chihiro. After saying that, he felt like crying. To be honest, even if he knew that Chihiro was fake, Lin Zion felt that he was deeply sinful if she cried in her current junior high school form. Of course, if it was Ikebe Misaki, she would explode on the spot and Lin Zion would not be a little fluctuating, because he knew what kind of person Ikebe Misaki was, but Chihiro was different. Lin Zion admired her very much. It was a pity that because of his own mistakes, Chihiro was polluted by Ikebe Misaki's memory. "Ah. I'm sorry for you, Chihiro." With a shy smile, Lin Zion tried to change the subject. "Okay, let's talk business. Is Mayasori okay? This is my home. If anything goes wrong, it will be troublesome." Master is really a joker. Chihiro rolled her eyes at Lin Zion, seemingly dissatisfied with his attitude of shirking responsibility. Lin Zion looked at Mayasori's face. It was horrible. The makeup on her face was all gone, especially around her eyes, which were all gone, and there were 2 lines of black tears. I don't know how much she put on her face. Is it necessary to put on such makeup? Lin Zion really misunderstood Mayasori this time. It was really because of Chihiro's incident that she couldn't sleep well, so her face was naturally haggard. In order to maintain her image in front of students, she could only cover it with heavy makeup. Otherwise, she usually put on light makeup at most, or even no makeup, because she was lazy. Lin Zion still knew that she was crying, because he heard her crying on the roof, and was complained by Odarena, saying that the ghost in his house came out again and asked if he was at home. Lin Zion could only say that the TV was too loud, and then he quickly mobilized some of his strength to block out the sound. Now that I think about it, it was a big loss. However, seeing the peace and tranquility under Mayasori's makeup, he could only say that it was a small loss, and it was considered to be helping Chihiro. "You watch her first, I'll buy some food." Lin Zion was very sure that Gongzong Ri would stay here to eat, and he wanted to eat seafood porridge today, so he just went to buy some crabs and shrimps first. "Master, please rest assured, Chihiro will take good care of Rio." Lin Zion stopped at the intersection. He now faced a problem. If he went to the supermarket to buy, there were fewer types to choose from, and the quality was definitely not as good as in the seafood market that specializes in selling seafood. But it is far to go to the seafood market, and it would be troublesome to go back and forth without a car. Normally, he is not afraid of wasting time, but now Miyazunri is at his home. If he does not go back early, his snacks will probably suffer. Where to go? "Kingtian-san, why are you standing here?" "Ahasaka Rio." Lin Zion didn't know why she appeared here. She should stay at home and rest now, right? But out of politeness, I still said hello. What a coincidence, Hasakawa-san. Skillful? No, Hasakawa Rio has been squatting for a long time. She followed him out when he saw him coming out of the house, and decided to come over after seeing him standing at the intersection for a while. "I'm going to buy something." "Where are you going, Aota-san?" Rio Hasakawa took the initiative to test. "Me? I want to buy some food, but I don't know what to buy. Lin Ziyan was just a little confused and did not doubt the coincidence of her appearance. After all, she lived nearby, so it was not a strange thing to meet her. He suddenly remembered what happened at noon today, so he said casually, "Is there nothing wrong with you?" "It's my problem today that embarrassed Hasakawa-san." "No. It's my own fault, and I have troubled you and teacher Gongzong." When it comes to this, Ryo Hasakawa feels a little inferior. She has always been very concerned about her own problem. "Does Kingtian-san hate me?" Lin Ziyan knew as soon as he saw her lowering her head that she was falling into her old habit. "No, why do you ask that?" In fact, he knew what Hasakawa Ryo meant, but he still asked her. "Because..." Lin Ziyan interrupted her and said the reason directly. "Is it because you are afraid of other people's eyes?" Hasakawa Ryo raised his head and seemed hesitant to speak. He wanted to explain something but couldn't. "Okay, I don't know what happened to you before, and I don't want to know. All you need to know is that from today on, you don't have to be afraid, at least you don't have to be afraid of my eyes." Lin Ziyan patted her shoulder and revealed a smile that I think is pretty. Lin Ziyan felt that he must be so radiant now that he almost turned into the sun. Unfortunately, Ryo Hasakawa kept his head down, and no one watched the scene. He added. Finding that Ryo Hasakawa didn't react at all, Lin Ziyan could only laugh a few times to cover up his embarrassment. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first." Lin Ziyan just wanted to leave this embarrassing place as soon as possible. "Why are you so nice to me?" "There is no reason, because we are friends." After saying this, he regretted it. Why did I say such a thing? The situation became even more embarrassing. Lin Ziyan tried to reverse the situation. "Hasakawa-san, do you want to come to my house for dinner tonight?" Maybe he thought there was something wrong with his words. Lin Ziyan added, "Because of teacher Gongzong, Hasakawa-san didn't have anything to eat. Come to my house tonight and I'll make something nice. Let's make up for it with food." After waiting for a while, there was still no answer. Lin Ziyan thought that he had accidentally touched something that Ryo Hasakawa didn't want others to know. "If it doesn't work, forget it. Don't force me. It's just my inconsideration to let you come alone at night." "Okay." Hasakawa Ryo still didn't raise his head, but reached out and grabbed his clothes. Ryo Hasakawa had been in the battle between heaven and man just now, and didn't pay attention to Lin Ziyan's words at all. He had rehearsed it thousands of times in his mind, but in the end, he only said the word good. "Then let's go grocery shopping." "What do you want to eat?" "It will be all right." "Then I want them all." Miyazune cried, treated differently. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 54. Originally, I wanted to eat seafood porridge, but if Hasakawa Ryo was coming, I couldn't be so casual. However, with so many people, he didn't know what dish to make, so he just had hot pot. As for meat, we had it at home, so Lin Ziyan only bought some vegetables and side dishes such as fish balls. He also had to go back to prepare beef balls himself, because he always thought that his own handmade ones tasted better. Lin Ziyan knew that there was sukiyaki in Neon, which was similar to hot pot, but sukiyaki was for one person, and he felt that sukiyaki was similar to spicy hot pot, without the feeling of everyone eating and chatting. He explained the difference between hot pot and sukiyaki to Hasakawa Ryo along the way, but he always felt that Hasakawa Ryo didn't listen much. "I'm back. This is the first time for Hasakawa-san to come into my house." Lin Ziyan deliberately spoke loudly when he opened the door. Of course, he wouldn't do this normally, but today Gongzong-ri was here, and he wanted to remind her. When he opened the door, nothing happened, because Gongzong-ri was not in the living room. "Teacher Gongzong!" Lin Ziyan shouted, then frowned. He quickly put down his things, ran to the kitchen, and opened the refrigerator. No, it's a feeling of heartache." Lin Ziyan held the refrigerator door, one hand grabbed the clothes on his chest, and his expression was downcast. Hosokawa Ryo looked at his mysterious operation and didn't understand why he asked someone to open the refrigerator. Hosokawa Ryo also walked into the kitchen. In fact, she couldn't be sure that this was Lindsay Ian's home. She had just rented that room. She was originally planning to come here to observe Lindsay Ian on Saturdays and Sundays, but now it has been exposed, that is, today is her first time to observe Lindsay Ian there. As far as she knows, Lindsay Ian attaches great importance to his sister, that is, Reina. They should live together, but Reina is not here, and there is another detail that caught her attention. After observation, the apron that Qingtian said he took home did not appear in the kitchen. This discovery further strengthened Hosokawa Ryo's heart. Then, there is only one truth. You're back so soon? Qingtian classmate Gongzong Liwi walked down the stairs. Oh. Hosokawa classmate is here too. Lin Ziyan looked over and saw that her makeup had been washed off. She was now barefaced. She had taken off her suit jacket and was wearing a white shirt. She looked sleepy and had just woken up, giving people a lazy feeling. Hello, teacher Gongzong. Hosokawa Liang didn't know what was going on, and was a little confused. Teacher, you're really rude. Lin Ziyan closed the refrigerator door with force. He felt that he must buy a locked refrigerator in the future. I helped you a lot, but you can't even bear this little bit. Gongzong Liwi's words made Lin Ziyan speechless. He was not for the money, but Gongzong Liwi touched his things without his consent. He felt that his territory was invaded. Forget it, but next time you have to get my permission, Lin Ziyan said helplessly. But the food at Qingtian's house is very delicious. Gongzong Li licked her lips in front of the two people, which scared Hosokawa Ryo. This is not my Gongzong teacher. Lindsay Ian was not surprised. She was an ape in front of Lindsay Ian and could do anything. Also, you made my stockings dirty. Look, she stretched out her leg. The two looked over and saw some white marks. Lindsay Ian thought for a while and retorted, you got it on yourself, what does it have to do with me? Humph. It's because you were too hard and it spilled on me. Gongzong Li took a step forward and walked down the stairs. It was obviously you who wanted to eat it, and you rushed over. If you didn't rush over, it wouldn't spill. Are you trying to shirk responsibility now? I didn't expect you to be such a person. Gongzong Li crossed her hands in front of her chest and stared at him. Lindsay Ian was about to fight back, but found that Hosokawa Ryo was a little bit wrong. Hosokawa Ryo covered her mouth with both hands, her face was pale, and her eyes looked at the two people in horror. Hosokawa, I think you misunderstood. In fact, we were talking about ice cream. Do you believe it? Lindsay Ian put his hand on her shoulder, but she avoided it. Ah. You too. Then, half an hour passed, the three of them sat on the sofa, and Lindsay Ian kept explaining to Hosokawa Ryo. That's it, you understand. Lindsay Ian told her about Gongzong Ri helping Reina, and the ice cream incident. Gongzong Ri sat next to her, crossed her legs, and didn't mean to explain at all. Then you two didn't, that? Hosokawa Ryo asked half-heartedly. Oh my eldest lady, how can you still remember this? No, it's all a misunderstanding, Lindsay Ian said righteously without any hesitation. Tisk. Gongzong Ri looked at Lindsay Ian, who was busy explaining with disdain. Are you so anxious to get rid of me? Ah, Gongzong Li Hui stretched lazily, showing the curves of her divine body. The bed in Qingtian's house is really comfortable. It's big and soft. Lindsay Ian was just about to complain about her curves. At best, it was a B cup, what's so good about it? When he heard that Gongzong Li Hui had slept in his bed, his face changed drastically. Although he is not a misophobe, his bed is his absolute domain. Even Xiao Bai can only go to bed after taking a shower. Why do you think you are more important than Xiao Bai? What did you say? Lindsay Ian's tone suddenly became dangerous. After saying that, he left the two people behind and ran upstairs. The two people also noticed the change on his face and were stunned. "Chihiro, explain it to me." When he thought of Gongzong Liwi sleeping in his bed wearing clothes and stockings, he had an urge to hit someone. No, without the master's permission, Chihiro will not take her to the master's room, and Ziobai will not let us in. Shigeki Chihiro was also scared. She didn't expect Lin Zion to react so much. Originally, she really wanted Gongzong Liwi to sleep in the room, because his room was the only one in the whole house with a bed, but she was stopped by Ziobai. Now think about it, fortunately it didn't succeed, otherwise she would be cold. Back in the room, Lin Zion checked the bed. He didn't like to fold the quilt after waking up, so it was obvious that it was indeed the same as when he left. Lin Zion's mood also made Ziobai uneasy. It twisted its body carefully, climbed up from the head of the bed, and looked around vigilantly. Lin Zion also realized that he was a little out of his mind. He had been too much involved recently. He reached out and picked up Ziobai, gently stroked it, and comforted it. "It's okay, I'll give you a snack tonight." "You." He looked at Chihiro again, and after thinking for a moment, he decided to forget it. He couldn't blame her for Gongzong Liwi's joke. It was also his fault for not making it clear. "Forget it, don't let other people enter my room in the future, especially Gongzong Liwi, understand?" "I know now." Shigeki Chihiro was a little panicked. When she was waiting for Lin Zion to speak just now, it was like waiting for the sentence to be announced. She almost thought she was sentenced to death. Gongzong Liwi downstairs was even more panicked. She was just eating snacks halfway, and was reminded by Shigeki Chihiro that Lin Zion brought Hosokawa Ryo back. She went to the sink upstairs to remove her makeup. And it wasn't the first time she entered his room. Why did he react so strongly this time? Gongzong Liwi thought she had done something wrong. Although she was naughty, she was not a stubborn person. She was ready to apologize. Hosokawa Ryo was also confused. Why did Mr. Miyamoto sleep in Aoda's bed? And why was he angry? Detective Hosokawa's brain suddenly brightened, and she integrated the clues at the scene. Why could it be? If that's the case, if everything is based on the premise that Aoda is not the owner of the house, it makes sense. The house next to it is a normal home. This is where Aoda borrowed it for face, and the purpose is to thank Mr. Miyamoto for his help. Mr. Miyamoto slept in the owner's bed, which may be different from what Aoda agreed with the owner, causing Aoda to face compensation. Then the culprit is. Hosokawa Ryo looked at Miyamoto-ri with a very obscure look. Hosokawa Ryo muttered to herself beside her. Her unusual behavior made Miyamoto-ri feel a little weird. She suddenly remembered that this was the famous haunted house nearby. Could Hosokawa be possessed? Will I be killed? Miyazaki-ri had no idea that she had just spent the entire afternoon with a so-called ghost. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 55. When the two were thinking about it, Lin Zion finally came down from the building. Lin Zion walked in front of them and was about to say something when Gongzong Liwi spoke first. "I'm sorry." Her apology was still beyond Lin Zion's expectation. It was not a big deal in the first place. Now that she apologized, there was no need to delve into it. Forget it this time, don't joke around next time. Lin Zion was a little helpless. Joke. Fake. Hosokawa Ryo was a little uncomfortable. She had planned to lend a helping hand when Lin Zion couldn't afford to pay and gain a wave of goodwill, but now the plan was aborted. How could it be repaired? Hosokawa Ryo suddenly hit the sofa. What's wrong with Hosokawa? The two looked at Hosokawa Ryo. Nothing, nothing. Hosokawa Ryo waved her hands frantically, indicating that she was fine. Good luck. Almost exposed. Then I'll go prepare the dishes first. Lin Zion found that it was almost time for them to prepare dinner, but there was not enough time for him to make beef balls and boil the soup base. If it was delayed until the evening, he didn't care, but it was not possible for Hosokawa Ryo and Mayaso Ri, and it would also disrupt Otorena's study plan, so he was considering whether to just make a few home-cooked dishes. Hosokawa-san, it's a little late now, can we not eat hot pot today? After all, he had promised her, so he still had to respect her opinion. Okay, I don't care. Hosokawa Ryo didn't care about what to eat, and this was not the purpose of her coming here today. Why? Hot pot. I haven't eaten it since I returned to China, I really want to eat it. Lin Zian glanced at her, then turned and left. His meaning was very clear. No one cares about your opinion here. Humph. Bastard, aren't you just afraid that I will see the pornographic magazines under your bed? Mayaso Ri complained in a low voice. Hosokawa Ryo was laughing with her face covered. It was the first time she saw Miyazaki Ri like a child. Then she caught Miyazaki Ri's attention. She looked fierce, like a hunter looking at a rabbit. What are you laughing at, Hosokawa? Tell me. No. Nothing, I'm going to help Qingtian. Hosokawa Ryo fled in a hurry. Seeing Hosokawa Ryo break into the kitchen, she couldn't help but chuckle. That was the man's territory. She still had a vivid memory of the scene of herself being driven out. She had already anticipated the scene of Hosokawa Ryo being driven out. Letting Hosokawa Ryo feel the reality will help her grow. I'm such a good teacher. I can't be the only one who is embarrassed. But after waiting for a while, she didn't see Hosokawa Ryo being driven out. She secretly ran to the kitchen and saw that the two were talking and laughing together, and they cooperated very well. Hosokawa Ryo was washing vegetables, and Lin Zian was cutting vegetables. Among them, Lin Zian personally put an apron on Hosokawa Ryo. The behavior of the two people made Gongzong Lihui grit her teeth, turned around and stomped the floor hard. Why did Lin Zian ask Hosokawa Ryo to help? The reason is very simple. Time is running out. No matter how powerful Lin Zian is, he can't create a shadow clone. As for why he didn't call Gongzong Lihui to help, it's not that Lin Zian discriminated against her, but simply didn't like her. And Hosokawa Lihui is not like Gongzong Lihui. She can cook, so she must be familiar with the kitchen things and is not afraid of any accidents. This is also the reason why he drove Gongzong Lihui out last time. You don't need to think about it to know that Gongzong Lihui definitely can't cook. When Hosokawa Liyang entered at the beginning, she knew that the owner of the house might not be Lin Zian, so she didn't dare to move the items. She just took the initiative to take over the job of washing vegetables. She came to the kitchen for more than one purpose. The kitchen is the place that best reflects the situation of a family. She noticed that there were two refrigerators here, most of which contained snacks such as drinks, puddings, and ice cream. As far as she knew, Lin Zian rarely ate snacks. Since she had never seen him, there might be someone who liked to eat snacks, that is, someone who liked to eat snacks, and this person might be Qingtian's sister. The other refrigerator was for meat and some long-lasting vegetables. According to her own experience, the amount in the refrigerator was enough for a family of 3 or 4 people to eat for 2 to 3 days, and there was no need for 2 people to prepare so many dishes, which also conflicted with Qingtian's statement that she lived alone with her sister. This was just her personal opinion. Lin Zian saw that she didn't even wear an apron, and was afraid that she would get it wet, so he just helped her put on an apron. This was a little surprise for Hosokawa Ryo, and she felt that she had to talk to the owner to see when to buy this place. The apron in Qingtian's house must be mine. Lin Zian didn't have any wild thoughts, because he was going to cook, and he was still very serious when he was doing things. If you don't take it seriously when refining the elixir, you will die. He learned to make the elixir after being bombed for more than 10 years. Is there any difference between cooking and making the elixir? For him, there is no difference. It's all about the heat and adding seasoning. I think there is no difference. I've finished talking. Who agrees, who disagrees? Qingtian is so handsome when he is serious. Hosokawa Ryo looked at Lin Ziyan from the side, and his eyes were almost full of hearts. All this was seen by Miyazaki Ri. She felt that as a responsible teacher, she had to stop the two of them. They couldn't fall in love in high school, which would affect their academic performance. This was what she learned from her roommate when she was studying abroad. She remembered that whenever her roommate talked about love, she would be surrounded by resentment that seemed to materialize, and she felt that feeling now. We will hold torches. How to do it? This is a question. When Mayasori was worried, there was a knock on the door. That's right. Xiao Reina, he values Reina so much, as long as it's Reina, there will be no problem. Then she ran to open the door. Xiao Reina, come, hug. Oda Reina hid behind her mother and looked at Mayasori with a look of mental retardation. Seeing Oda Reina's rejection of her, Mayasori knew that her plan of driving the tiger to swallow the wolf would be difficult to achieve. She didn't even approach you, so how could you sow discord? Why did the teacher come here today? Oda Michiko asked curiously. Mayasori looked back and said a little awkwardly, it's not just me, there's also Hosokawa-san. Hosokawa-san. Is it Ryo Hosokawa? Oda Reina asked, sticking her head out from behind her mother. Little Reina knows her. It was Mayasori's turn to be surprised, because when she chatted with her mother before, she knew that she had no way to make friends. The only intersection between the two was Shigeki Aoda. And looking at Reina's expression when she said her name, it seems that the relationship between the two is a bit interesting. They are in the kitchen now. Mayasori reminded Oda Reina. It seems that the relationship between the two has been alienated without provocation. I'm going to do my homework. Oda Reina got rid of her mother and went to the dining room by herself. How could Oda Michiko not know what her daughter was thinking, and hurriedly followed her, while Mayasori hung behind the mother and daughter, with an expression of watching a show. How about my trick, Shigeki Aoda classmate? After Oda Reina went over, she did not show any difference from usual at the first time. She just moved the books placed here and started studying, as if she didn't see the two people busy in the kitchen. Lin Ziyan also noticed that Oda mother and daughter came over, and sped up and put the dishes on the plate. Hosokawa Ryo only had Lin Ziyan in his eyes, and didn't notice Oda's mother and daughter at all. Lin Ziyan washed his hands and went over to shout, it's time to eat, Reina, put away your books and eat first. Everyone came in response. As the host, Lin Ziyan had the obligation to introduce them to each other. Oda's mother and daughter and Miyazaki Ri already knew each other, so he mainly introduced Hosokawa Ryo. This is my friend at school, Hosokawa. I often take care of her at school. I just happened to meet her today, so I invited her to have dinner. Hello, everyone, I'm Hosokawa Ryo. Hosokawa Ryo introduced herself generously. She felt that she was indeed different from usual. She was not panicked at all next to Qingtian, and she was not afraid of other people's eyes. Hosokawa Ryo stole a glance at Lin Ziyan and quickly hid again. These two are my neighbors. Hello, I'm Michiko Oda. When Ryo Hosokawa heard the words neighbor and Oda, she was highly alert and asked, this must be Reina, so cute. No wonder Aoda often mentioned you to me. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 56. Although Ryo Hosokawa didn't look strange, she was wondering what the relationship between Rina Oda and Lin Ziyan was. Are they really neighbors? Not really. If they were just neighbors, Qingtian wouldn't care about her so much. Besides, Qingtian called her his sister. Are they childhood sweethearts? No, Qingtian told me that he had just moved to Tokyo. So what was it? I must have overlooked some important details. Hello. Rina Oda seemed to be afraid of Ryo Hosokawa. She said timidly while holding a book. Ryo Hosokawa, who was thinking, answered casually. She didn't feel like playing with Rina Oden now, but she found that Lin Ziyan looked at her at some point. Lin Ziyan looked at her curiously. Why did Rina Oda look so afraid of Ryo Hosokawa? Ryo Hosokawa was stunned for a moment, and then looked at Rina Oda again. She found that she looked so pitiful. Ryo Hosokawa felt that her heart was hit hard. So cute. No. Thinking of the look Lin Ziyan gave her just now, Hosokawa Ryo immediately became alert. This is a method of pretending to be pitiful and attacking. When facing an enemy stronger than oneself, one puts oneself in a weak position to gain sympathy and finally turn defeat into victory. The inadvertent answer just now will definitely make Qingtian feel that I have a bad attitude, which has reduced Qingtian's favorability towards me. It is too late to force a remedy now. But you are not qualified to be my opponent. Let's not stand here. Qingtian and I have already prepared the meal. Let's eat first. After saying that, he led everyone to take a seat, looking like a host. She also deliberately arranged Odarina to be far away from Lin Ziyan, leaving 2 adjacent seats for Lin Ziyan and herself. This arrangement was exactly what Oda Michiko wanted. She suppressed the restless Odarina and warned her with her eyes not to move. Lin Ziyan didn't care about the confrontation between the two, because he knew that the two had some contradictions, but with him, the two would not quarrel. I'll go get the dishes. Lin Ziyan turned and went back to the kitchen. I'll help. Hosokawa Ryo got up quickly and entered the kitchen before Lin Ziyan left the dining room. Looking at the busy Hosokawa Ryo, Lin Ziyan didn't say anything, but just brought out the dishes with her. There's not much food today, everyone just eat whatever you can. I'm going to start. ×4. What Lin Ziyan meant by not much food was 5 dishes and 1 soup. Oni-chan, I want to eat this. Odarina stretched out her hand and said helplessly. Mom will help you. Oda Michiko picked up her chopsticks and put a piece of meat into Odarina's bowl. Lin Ziyan lowered his head to eat, selectively avoiding Odarina's resentful eyes. Your mother is here, you're messing with me like this, do you want me to die? Seeing such a wonderful scene, Hosokawa Ryo wanted to laugh, but she held it back. You're just a sister. Knowing that her mother was blocking her, Odarina didn't try to attack, but ate honestly. Odarina's sister's behavior made Hosokawa Ryo let down her guard. She began to sweep frantically and had eaten 3 bowls of rice in a short time. Gongzong Liwi and Oda's mother and daughter were all shocked, only Lin Ziyan was calm and seemed to see through everything. Let her eat as she wants, anyway, I'm full. Lin Ziyan wanted to remind them that if they didn't eat quickly, it would be gone. Sister eats so much, Odarina whispered. It was said to be a low voice, but the dining room was so small that everyone present heard it. Hosokawa Ryo's chopsticks suddenly stopped, and the atmosphere on the field seemed to solidify. This is a naive attack, an attack that hits others through unintentional words, and from such a lovely person like Reina, if the attacked person resists, the crowd will talk about it. It's really a vicious attack. There's no way, I was careless. In Japan, women who eat too much have a bad reputation. I, Hosokawa Ryo, would like to call you an opponent. While Hosokawa Ryo was thinking, Lin Ziyan knew that he had to take action, otherwise the meal would be over. Lin Ziyan put down his chopsticks, and the crisp sound attracted everyone's attention. I can't help it. The meal I cooked is too delicious. Lin Ziyan looked around and continued, if the guests come as guests and can't even have a full meal, it is the fault of the host. I apologize to everyone here. Although it is an apology, everyone knows what Lin Ziyan means. You are the guests and I am the host. After being shocked by Lin Ziyan, everyone ate honestly. After the meal, Oda Michiko stopped Hosokawa Ryo and took over the task of cleaning up and washing dishes. At first, Hosokawa Ryo didn't want to give up this opportunity to brush up her favorability, but Lin Zion spoke up. Let Michiko do it. You and Mr. Miyamoto go sit in the living room first. I'll check Reina's progress first. I'll take you back later. Tutor? Are you tutoring Reina? Yes, didn't I tell you? Lin Zion helped Reina take out the exercises she had left with him. After seeing this, Hosokawa Ryo became more determined in her idea, but she was still a little short. She looked around and finally looked at Oda Michiko in the kitchen. Lin Zion ignored Hosokawa Ryo standing next to him and talked to Oda Reina about the questions. I don't know how to do this question. Oda Reina leaned on Lin Zion in front of Hosokawa Ryo and rubbed against him and said. You sit better, otherwise no one will like you if you are short-sighted and hunched in the future. Lin Zion pushed Oda Reina away. This question needs to be like this first. Ryo Hosokawa did not see Oda Reina's provocation. She is still thinking about the truth. She felt she was about to be exposed to the truth. After Oda Michiko finished washing the dishes, she dragged Ryo Hosokawa to the living room. She would not let others disturb her daughter's study. In front of outsiders, Miyazune still looks like an intellectual woman, especially after today's ups and downs. Then the three people chatted there, but most of them were Miyazune and Oda Michiko, and she answered from time to time. Michiko, do you know how much that kid spent on buying this house? This, I heard it was more than 18 million. Michiko Oda glanced specifically in the direction of the dining room. She was not sure and said a little hesitantly. She didn't want to talk about this at first, after all, it was Lin Zion's private matter, but she thought about the relationship between Lin Zion and Gongzong-ri, and Gongzong-ri was kind to her. Shigeki-kun probably won't care, it's probably no problem. Is he so rich? He bought this place as soon as he came here. It doesn't seem to be the case. I heard from the agent that Shigeki-kun didn't even have money to stay in a hotel. Moreover, when I first saw him, he looked very haggard and his clothes were very thin. Michiko Oda recalled carefully. He will definitely not be short of money. Gongzong Gliwi has seen what he is capable of, and she does not think that Lin Zion will be short of money. You two, I'll take you back first. The sudden appearance of Lin Zion shocked the three of them. After all, you were just talking about someone else, and suddenly someone else appears behind you. Who can withstand this? Seeing the guilty expressions of the three of them, Lin Zion knew that their topic was related to him, but he didn't care. He was not afraid of what others would say. He has done nothing wrong and is not afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. Even if a ghost knocks on the door, it will be useless. Let's go, Lin Zion reminded again. Oh. ×2. After taking the two people out, Lin Zion was going to send Hosokawa Ryo back first, and then Miyazune, because he still had something to talk to Miyazune. Then let's go first. Lin Zion and Miyazune exited Hosokawa Ryo's small home together. Ryo Hosokawa is still satisfied with the current home. After all, it is very close to Lin Zion's home and can see him. But she still had no clue to the questions in her mind, so Hosokawa Ryo had to reorganize the known clues. The great thing about Ryo Hosokawa is that she can think and do things at the same time. By the time she reacts, she has already finished taking a shower. That's right, Ryo Hosokawa exclaimed and jumped up from the bed, thinking, I have always wondered who is right, Miss Oda or Mr. Miyazune, but what if both of them are lying? Hosokawa Ryo, who had changed his mind again, seemed confident, even a little dazed. Happy Children's Day. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 57. It is true that Qingtian and Oda's mother and daughter are neighbors, but if everything is reversed, Oda's mother and daughter are the owners of the house. Everything today is a plot of theirs, and Qingtian is just a tutor in their family. Whether it is the apron or Miss Oda's familiarity with the kitchen, it is strange, and Thinking about it, Hosokawa Ryo started crying while hugging her pillow. She really couldn't deceive herself. In fact, she knew when Lin Zion was buying vegetables and paying the bill that Qing Tian must be a rich man. Would an ordinary high school student have a stack of 10,000 yuan in denominations in his wallet? Hosokawa Ryo cried miserably, and a large part of her pillow was soon wet, but she quickly cheered up. After all, Qing Tian can't be richer than me, and now she just lacks a strategy direction. After getting off the bus, the two people who had been chatting along the way stopped talking at the same time and just walked slowly. Lin Zion looked up at the sky and saw nothing. The sky was almost filled with thin clouds. When I was there, it was the time when the nightlife started. Actually, it was almost the same. Countless people who were burdened with life temporarily relieved themselves of the burden, and took up the burden again at dawn and continued to move forward. It will definitely rain tomorrow, Lin Zion said without any context. What did you say? Gong Zhongliwi looked at him in confusion. Nothing. Lin Zion did not continue the topic, but turned to Gong Zhongliwi. Are you satisfied today? It's okay, at least I saw Chihiro again. Gong Zhongliwi swung her arms in boredom. You and she are not from the same world. I know. Then will you tell others? You saw a ghost. Are there really ghosts in this world? You know, I'm not talking about Chihiro. Yes, and there are quite a few, many people know it. Haha, Gong Zhongliwi said self-deprecatingly, it turns out that all this is fake. Answer my question. What if I say it will? When will it happen? Nothing will happen to you, but it's hard to say about Chihiro. After all, some things can't be put on the table. Can't you protect her? I'm just one person, don't think too much of me. I know. The conversation between the two people was blown away by the wind. Except for the two of them, no one knew about today's conversation. As usual, Lin Zion knocked on the door. Hello, Teacher Gongzone, I sent her back. Our performance today was very successful. Teacher Gongzone doesn't need to come to rehearse in the future. When Lin Zion saw Gongzone Mabu opening the door, he ignored Gongzone bitter face and went straight up to cut off her life. Lin Zion was sure that she must have used rehearsal as an excuse to escape today. I had no choice before, but now I want to be a good person. I am sorry to Mr. Gongzone. Then I will leave first. Without waiting for Gongzone Maiho to speak, Lin Zion turned around and left without any reluctance, like the wind. Gongzone Liwi watched Lin Zion leave, and after Gongzone Maiho closed the door, she suddenly hugged Gongzone Maiho and cried. This scared Gongzone Maiho. She thought Lin Zion had done something unscrupulous. What's wrong? Did that Chongmu Qingtian do something to you? Gongzone Maiho supported her, and the two sisters faced each other. Speak. Sister will help you settle accounts with him. No. Really? Don't be afraid, let's call the police. No matter how rich he is, don't be afraid. After saying that, she pulled Gongzone Liwi out to call the police. No, nothing really, I just thought of something. What? I miss Chihiro. As expected, Maiho Miyamoto sighed and hugged Miyamoto. It's over. Sister, I want to go out and play tomorrow. No. Haha, I'm free. When he got downstairs, Lin Zion started running. He didn't dare to forget Xiaobai's big meal. He went to buy some canned food for it first, otherwise he wouldn't sleep tonight. When he got home, Oda's mother and daughter hadn't gone back yet. Oda Michiko was cleaning the toilet and bathroom. Because the bathroom was big, she hadn't finished it yet, and Odarina was doing the homework that Lin Zion left for her in the dining room. Seeing that Odarina was so well behaved, Lin Zion took a pudding from the refrigerator for her as a midnight snack. Come on, stop doing your homework and eat first, otherwise it will be hard to digest too late. As soon as Lin Zion spoke, Oda Michiko popped up, but she didn't say anything. After taking a look, she went back. Lin Zion opened the can of cat food he had just bought and poured it out. A luxurious, perfunctory, dinner was ready. He called Ziobai down to eat, and it ate happily. Lin Zion was very happy watching the two kittens eating. "We're leaving first," Oda Michiko said goodbye to Lin Zion while holding Oda Reina's hand. "Wait, take this." Lin Zion picked up a bag from the top of the shoe cabinet and handed it to Oda Michiko. "What is this?" Oda Michiko opened the bag and found that it was full of snacks. "We can't take this from Shigeki-kun," she said as she was about to push it back. "What are you doing? These are not for you." Lin Zion's words made Oda Michiko pause awkwardly. "This is for Reina. She needs energy because she has to use her brain every day. These beef jerky and chocolate are her snacks. Otherwise, she won't grow taller." Lin Zion could only explain. "Okay." Oda Michiko accepted it as soon as she heard that it would benefit Oda Reina. It can be said that Lin Zion has taken her in. After sending Oda mother and daughter away, Lin Zion finally relaxed. "You." Lin Zion was lying in the bathtub and said to Shigeki Chihiro, who had been beside him, "It's okay to follow me all the way just now, but there's no need to follow me in the bath. This is to protect the master." Shigeki Chihiro didn't blush or feel nervous. If she hadn't been staring at Lin Zion's body, she would definitely be a very good bodyguard. Lin Zion didn't care, but asked her, "What do you think of Gong Zong Liu's words? We are not from the same world. It's good that you understand. Don't cause trouble for me. You should make a physical body first. Chihiro understands. If you understand, then why don't you go out? I'm getting up." Being watched by others taking a bath, even Lin Zion couldn't stand it. He just wanted to send Chihiro away now. Fortunately, Chihiro obeyed this time and left. Lying on the bed, Lin Zion sighed, "Today is really fulfilling." Then he fell asleep. When he woke up, it was already 8 or 9 o'clock. It's great not to go to school. Long live staying in bed. / Chihiro Shigeki next to him saw it and smiled softly. "What do you want for breakfast?" Lin Zion asked. "What does the master want to eat?" Chihiro bowed slightly and asked back. "Porridge, I want to eat seafood today. I'll have some porridge for breakfast to clear my stomach." Lin Zion still misses the seafood in Japan. After all, he has been here for so many days, and there is no day that he is really free. Today, he must enjoy the decadent life of capitalism. "Also, I want to buy a computer and go back to see my old friends. As for those stupid netizens who want to kill me, you can't get through the network cable this time. If you have a computer, you need an internet cable, and you have to go to the business hall, but fortunately there is optical fiber here, just pay the money. Just thought about it, and found that I still don't have time today, but I should have time to eat seafood." When Lin Zion went out, it was already past 10 o'clock, and he decided to go to Tokyo first to buy a computer. But Lin Zion didn't want to buy a complete machine, those were all scams. It would be better to buy parts and assemble them by yourself, and he knew what configuration he wanted. He had bought most of it online, and he was still short of parts. After taking the backpack, Lin Zion asked Shigeki Chihiro to look after the house. Before leaving, he warned the two of them not to cause trouble. Putting on the backpack again, Lin Zion remembered that when he first came, he looked half dead. He smiled and walked out of the house. Tokyo's electronics city is Akihabara, but now it has become an animation mecca, so Lin Zion got off the bus in Shibuya. The supermarket on his side and the mall on this side are very different. Since he had time, Lin Zion walked around inside and even went into the women's clothing store to have a look. The only thing missing was the underwear store. Act culture is prevalent in Neon. Game stores and figurine stores can be seen everywhere. Lin Zion thought that since he had bought a computer anyway, he would of course buy some games to take back, so he found the largest game store and walked in. Thanks to Tang Yuji and Naming Nama 2019 for their rewards and votes. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 58. As soon as he entered, Lin Ziyan found that not only games but also movie discs, TV series, comics, and other things were sold here. However, these things were usually rented, because generally, like movies, you only need to watch them once, and there is no need to buy them. Of course, collections are counted separately. After walking around inside, he found many classic games and a separate area. A white cloth curtain with the words 18 times was hung above the door. Although Lin Ziyan knew what was inside, he couldn't help but be curious, but thinking that he was not yet an adult, he simply gave up. He couldn't buy anything even if he went in. Just as Lin Ziyan was about to leave, a person wearing trousers, a men's jacket, a mask, and a black baseball cap came out of the door. It's her. After seeing the person clearly, Lin Ziyan's mouth corners rose wildly, and he followed her unhurriedly. She left directly after coming out. It seems that her goal was there. When there were no people around, Lin Ziyan walked towards her quickly and patted her from behind. Isn't this classmate Tsuji Tomi? Ah, the man shuddered, without even turning his head. Sir, you recognized the wrong person, I am not Tsuji Tomi. After saying that, he wanted to leave. Oh, you lowered your voice. Lin Ziyan didn't want her to leave, so he took off her hat, and the blonde hair that was originally in the hat was scattered. What are you doing? The man found that the hat was taken off, turned around, pulled off the mask, and roared. What she faced was a few shudder sounds. Okay, thank you. After taking the photo, Lin Ziyan immediately prepared to leave. Now it was Tsuji Tomi's turn to be confused. What do you want to do? But of course she couldn't let him leave like this, so she hurried forward to stop Lin Ziyan. You want to leave now? Tsuji Tomi was not as noble and cold as she was in school in the past. Instead, she was like a grumpy puppy who would bite people. What else? Just confirm whether you are Tsuji Tomi. After all, we are classmates, so it's not too much to say hello. Lin Ziyan didn't care about Tsuji Tomi's attitude. After all, he was the one who started the trouble. Are you so sure? What do you want to do? Tsuji Tomi pointed at the hat in Lin Ziyan's hand. Oh. Sorry, I'll give it back to you. Lin Ziyan didn't quibble, apologized directly, and handed the hat back to her. Humph. It's better not to have something you touched. Tsuji Tomi raised her head and chest, with her hands crossed in front of her chest. I touched your clothes too, so why don't you take them off? Lin Ziyan muttered in a low voice. What did you say? Tsuji Tomi's eyes were wide open, as if she was going to tear Lin Ziyan to pieces in the next second. Nothing, nothing. Lin Ziyan decisively followed his heart, but still teased her. Do you really not want it? If you don't want it, I'll wear it, and pretended to put it on. Eugene Tomi grabbed the hat and was about to throw it on the ground when Lin Ziyan's devilish voice came again. Don't throw it around, or I'll take good care of it if I pick it up. Jinji Tomi's movements paused like a card machine, and then her hand slowly dropped. That's right. Then let's go over there to talk now. Lin Ziyan pointed to the open-air cafe on the first floor of the mall. Why should I go with you? Because of this. Lin Ziyan turned his phone over and turned the screen to Jinji Tomi. This is. Jinji Tomi looked at the photo in front of her, which was the way she walked out of that door. If there was only that one photo, she would certainly not be afraid, but in the following photos, her face was photographed. If he spread it out, not only me, but also my family would be ashamed. After all, there are still many girls in the school who are jealous of her, and her reputation may be ruined if she adds fuel to the fire. Jinji Tomi's face turned black in an instant, and even the look she gave Lin Ziyan carried some kind of dangerous signal. Don't look at me like that. I don't want to be like that either. It's all because your friends are so annoying. Lin Ziyan didn't want to talk slowly anymore, So he just talked to her directly. You take care of your friends. I promise that these photos will not be leaked and will even be deleted. Your promise. You don't have the right to choose, Lin Zion said with sarcasm. I can buy it back with money. Jin Tomi reacted and attacked with money. I'm not interested in money, but you. Lin Zion looked at Jin Tomi wantonly. What do you want to do? Jin Tomi suddenly regretted it. Why did she bring it up for no reason? I'm not interested either, Lin Zion pouted, looking disgusted. He was not interested in steel plates. You. Jin Tomi was so angry that she couldn't even speak, and could only stare at Lin Zion viciously. No more playing, I still have to buy things. Goodbye, Jin Tomi. Classmate Lin Zion waved his hand and left. Jin Tomi watched Lin Zion's back disappear from sight quickly. What does he mean, my friend? In fact, Jin Tomi didn't really understand what Lin Zion meant. Her impression of Lin Zion was still at the beginning of the school year, and she only knew that he was a very annoying person. But she never took the initiative to cause trouble. She was not the kind of person who liked to cause trouble. She just had to manage her interpersonal relationships well and not embarrass her family. She was not responsible for distributing books last time. She just organized people to move them back to the classroom. It was all because I was too impulsive just now and didn't ask the reason clearly. Although Tsuji Tomi regretted losing her mind just now, it was impossible for her to go find Lin Zion, so the matter was put aside. Tsuji Tomi also turned back to go home and found a trash can on the side of the road. Just as she was about to throw her hat down, the words rang in her mind. She felt that Lin Zion was watching her somewhere. If she threw away the hat, he would come and take it away as soon as she left, and then take it home to do something disgusting. Thinking of this, she could only resist the nausea and take the hat away, preparing to throw it away when she got home. Lin Zion really left. Tsuji Tomi's incident was only a small unexpected gain for him and did not affect his schedule. After buying everything, Lin Zion went home. There was nothing worth him staying in Tokyo. When he got home, he checked the situation at home as soon as possible, and found that the two of them did not do anything big before he felt relieved. It seems that I have to help Kyung-sun prepare a place quickly, otherwise I will be worried every day. That's right. There is also the awakening ceremony ode to Ziobai. Ah. So annoying. Why are there so many things left to do? Lin Zion had a headache when he thought of so many things left to do. Lin Zion complained helplessly, I came here to enjoy life, why am I more tired now than before? Is this life? He is now only one cigarette away from being a middle-aged uncle. Forget it, Ziobai's matter has been delayed for so long anyway, let's delay it for a while. As for Kyung-sun's matter, let's talk about it tonight. I just want to eat seafood now. Before Lin Zion finished thinking, a noisy sound came from next door. Lin Zion frowned. Only Odarina was at home next door. Thinking of this, Lin Zion walked out quickly. Lin Zion looked over from the gate and saw a group of people standing in front of Oda's house in a mess. Those people looked young, both men and women. A girl looked like a leader, struggling to maintain order. What are you doing? Lin Zion shouted, attracting everyone's attention. Who are you? What does our presence have to do with you? A boy walked out. I live next door. You guys are disturbing me. Do you want me to call the police, notify your school, and ask your parents to come over? Lin Zion's words strangled his courage to continue. Someone come out and explain. After Lin Zion's intimidation, these young people didn't dare to step forward. Then the girl who was suspected to be the leader was pushed out. You, hello. Then tell me what's going on. You can go home after you explain it clearly. We are here to find Reina. We want her to go back to school. Who are you? Are you Reina's classmates? I'm Sayori Oko, a good friend of Reina. Do you know Reina too? You said you are Reina's good friend. Yes, we have known each other since elementary school. Can you help us persuade Reina? All of us classmates miss Reina very much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 59. Lin Zian thought for a moment and said to Ryoko Saga, "Let them go back first. I have something to ask you." "Well, Onasan, if you have anything to tell us, you can talk to everyone." Ryoko Saga was a little hesitant, she was a little scared. "No, you guys go back first. I have something to talk to her about." Lin Zian had a tough attitude and directly passed Ryoko Sagaya and gave orders. "What? You don't want to leave?" Then those people dispersed like birds and beasts, and poured out of the Oda family's courtyard from Lin Zian's side. Only Ryoko Sagaya was stared at by Lin Zian and did not dare to move. After all the miscellaneous fish were gone, Lin Zian walked up to Ryoko Sagaya, glanced at the room behind her, and said to her, "Come with me, I have something to ask you." "Where are you going, Auna sang?" "I'm going home. Mom is already looking for me." After saying that, he took out his phone and tapped something on the screen. "Don't you want Reina to go to school? If you want me to help you persuade her, you have to tell me why Reina dropped out of school." After saying that, he walked out, not caring about Ryoko Saga at all, and not afraid of her running away. Ryoko Saga looked at Lin Zian's retreating figure. She hesitated for a moment and then followed him. "Onasan, where are we going?" Ryoko Saga ran out from beside Lin Zian, with a child's unique smile on her face, which looked a little innocent. "Find a place where we can chat slowly," Lin Zian replied while playing with his mobile phone. "Look, there's no seafood to eat," Lin Zian muttered softly. "What did Onasan say?" "It's nothing. I've been hungry all day. Let's find a place to eat and chat slowly," Lin Zian said slowly and unhurriedly. "Do you know any delicious food nearby?" When she heard that she was looking for something to eat, Ryoko Sagaya felt relieved, but she still didn't dare to relax. She had heard some news. Lin Zian randomly found a dessert shop, ordered a cake, and then handed the menu to Ryoko Sagaya. Seeing that she didn't dare to take it, Lin Zian added, "Don't worry, I'm treating you as a consultation fee." "Thank you, Onasan." Ryoko Saga took the menu and ordered an ice cream. Seeing this, Lin Zian couldn't help but complain, "Do you girls like to eat ice cream?" "Huh?" Ryoko Sagaya didn't understand what Lin Zian meant, and her face was full of doubts. "It's nothing, let's get down to business," Lin Zian said briefly and asked about Lene. "How often do you visit Reina?" "Like today. Come over if you have time." "Oh. Then tell me how you and Reina met." "Reina, she and I have known each other since elementary school." Ryoko Sagatani briefly recalled the experience of the two of them. Lin Zian listened to her while playing on her mobile phone, and gained a certain understanding of their friendship. "We had a good relationship until we entered junior high school," Ryoko Saga said intermittently. "I accidentally told Reina's family situation at that time." "Do you know her family's situation?" Ryoko Saga suddenly asked Lin Zian. "I know, her dad." Lin Zian was half aware and was about to deal with it when Ryoko Saga continued. "Yes. She doesn't have a father. I asked her about it, and she said she had never seen her father. When people in the class found out, Reina was so hurt by the rumors that she dropped out of school." "Is it campus bullying again? Why are there so many bad things like this in Neon, even in developed countries?" Lin Zian complained. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't accidentally said it, Reina wouldn't have dropped out of school." Ryoko Saga lowered her head and looked guilty. After a while, seeing Lin Zian didn't speak, she added, "Will Onasan help me?" "Eat first, then talk after you finish." Lin Zian gestured to her ice cream that was about to melt. Ryoko Saga also started eating. The entrance to the dessert shop. Glancing at the flow of people on the street, Lin Zion said to Ryoko Saga, "Can you go home by yourself? You haven't answered me yet. Can you help me?" Lin Zion looked at Ryoko Saga, who had exhausted his patience, smiled and said, "Let me take you home." "Where is your home?" "I don't need you to take me home." After saying this, Ryoko Saga left on her own. As Ryoko Saga's figure got further and further away, Lin Zion's eyes narrowed. "Without seafood, we can only eat these junk foods." Lin Zion looked back at the front of the dessert shop and complained in front of the clerk. Lin Zion did not go home, but went directly to Oda's house. "Lingne, open the door," Lin Zion said to the door without even knocking. After waiting for a while, the door still didn't open. Lin Zion continued, "Hurry up, we've got it done and we still have to study. Do you want to skip class?" The door opened, and Rina Oda stood at the door in her pajamas. "What's wrong?" "Don't be afraid, Linne, I'm here." Lin Zion stroked her hair. "Come on, tell me what happened, and see who dares to make my sister cry." Oda Rina did not answer Lin Zion's words, but looked up at him. There was no anger or resentment in her eyes, only calmness. "Okay. Since you want to do this, I don't care." Lin Zion, who understood Oda Rina's thoughts, said nothing more. "I will always be by your side." He patted her shoulder gently. "Now I have wasted so much time reading books. If you want to prove yourself, you have to work hard." After Oda Rina went back and closed the door, Lin Zion went home. "Master, what's the matter?" Kinksun Shigeki asked after seeing Lin Zion's expression. "It's nothing, it's just that I couldn't eat any seafood, and I was forced to eat some unpalatable food." Kinksun wants to share his master's worries. "Okay, I will come to you if anything happens." Lin Zion waved his hand and stopped Shigeki Chihiro, who wanted to continue. After returning home, Jinzi Fujiang locked himself in his room. Thinking of what happened today, he became increasingly angry. Tsuzi Tomi grew up in Europe. Later, her father's position was transferred and she was transferred back to Nihon. Then Tsuzi Tomi came to high school at Aoyama Academy. Because of her father, Jinzi Fujiang has always had a strong interest in Nihon. However, due to geographical restrictions, she could only get a little information from the internet and her father's mouth. "When I come here to settle down this time, of course I want to have a good understanding of the Nihon culture." She learned from the internet that there were many classic games and collector's edition comic books there, but she just ran into it by mistake. Unfortunately, Lin Zion saw it. Her reason for going there was pure and simple curiosity, but there was something wrong with the place she picked. "The more I think about it, the angrier I get. The more I think about it when I step back, the more I lose." She didn't know whether to tell her family about this or not. What should she say? Said that he was secretly photographed when he went to 18 times. Jinzi Fujiang jumped on the bed irritably, picked up the pillow and punched it several times crazily. Lin Zion didn't know Jinzi Fujiang's troubles. He was also in trouble now. In the kitchen. "What's wrong with Rina today?" Michiko Oda asked worriedly. A group of children came today, claiming to be Reina's classmates, and said they wanted to persuade Reina to go back to school. Lin Zion suddenly stopped stirring the pot, turned off the heat and put it on the plate. Seeing that Michiko Oda was still worried, Lin Zion added, "Don't worry, I've driven them all away." "Those people again. Don't they do enough in school?" Michiko Oda was a little excited. "Okay, don't disturb Linne from studying," Lin Zion reminded her. "I'm sorry, I lost my temper. Go and ask Linne to eat." Lin Zion sent her out and arranged the kitchen utensils expressionlessly. No one spoke at the dinner table, everyone ate in silence, and the atmosphere was horribly depressing. "Okay, what happened today is over, just do whatever you want." Lin Zion changed the subject. "Would Lingna want to try my bath tonight?" "No, no," Michiko Oda quickly refused. It's okay. Reina has worked hard for so long. It's time to relax. It's not good to jump too tight. You can try it too. No, I can't trouble you anymore. Michiko Oda was still like that. Lin Zion didn't care about her. Her opinion didn't matter. He said directly to Oda, Rina, your mother is working very hard. Don't you want her to relax? I want to. Oda. Rina looked up at her mother. But Michiko Oda still wanted to struggle. Okay, you've washed that bath so many times, does it matter if I let you soak once? You can just wash it off when the time comes. Okay then. Michiko Oda nodded in resignation. My Retirement Life in Neon. Author, Wu Nangkuang Song. Chapter 60. Okay, it's getting late. Today's class ends here. Lin Zion closed the book and said to Oda Michiko, who was sitting next to her, now take Reina to take a bath. You should be able to use that bathtub bar. Yes, but, do I have to drain the water after washing? Michiko Oda was talking about the water in the bathtub. Because fresh water resources are not abundant in Neon, family members generally share a tank of water when taking a bath, but they all wash their bodies first before taking a bath. You like this? I don't care. Lin Zion thinks you can let it go if you want, there's no need to ask him. Before Michiko Oda could answer, Lin Zion continued, you guys wash up first, and I'll take Ziobai out for a walk. After saying that, he called Ziobai a few times at the top of the stairs, and after he came down, he took him out. Didn't even say hello to Michiko Oda. You're so fat, come run with me. Lin Zion rubbed Ziobai's belly and then put it on the ground. Meow. Let's go. Ziobai jumped onto the wall, stretched his short legs along the wall, and followed Lin Zion. After watching Lin Zion go out, Oda Michiko took Oda Reina into the bathroom, closed the door and started to take off her clothes without worrying about cameras. Lin Zion was right. She had cleaned this place so many times. If there was such a thing, she would have discovered it a long time ago. The two mothers and daughters helped each other wash their bodies and lay together in the bathtub. The entire bathtub is round and not big, but it is more than enough for 2 or 3 adults, let alone 1 adult and 1 child. Ah, it's so comfortable. This was Oda Reina's first time taking a bath. The small bathroom in her house couldn't accommodate a bathtub, and Oda Michiko hadn't taken a bath in many years. Why doesn't mom want to take a bath? It's so comfortable, Oda Reina asked in confusion, remembering her mother's delay just now. Michiko Oda felt the touch of the pebbles, and the steaming water vapor made her head a little confused. It took her a while to answer her daughter's question. Don't trust him so much. You are still young and don't understand. Mom, are you afraid that he will come in suddenly? Onasan wouldn't do this. Oda Reina was lying on the edge of the bathtub, her legs gently tapping the water. Do you know him well? Oda Michiko put her hands on Oda Reina's shoulders, turned her around, faced her and said, we must learn to protect ourselves, no one will help you for no reason. But Oda Reina wanted to refute her mother's words, but she couldn't. Okay, let's soak for a while longer before he comes back. Michiko Oda let go of Reina Oda and lay down in the bathtub again. Thinking of what she just said, Michiko Oda looked at her daughter and said to herself, no one will help you for no reason. Lin Zion was wandering outside. He had no destination and just regarded it as killing time. He specifically chose those small roads to walk. It would be best if he met 1 or 2 people who didn't open their eyes. Then the debt owed to Ziobai would be paid, and maybe even more money would be paid. Have extra income. I've been here for so long, but I haven't even taken a stroll. I wander around the supermarket, school, and home at 3 o'clock every day. Meow. I'm not staying at home. I have something to do at home. I have to take care of you. Meow. Ziobai suddenly jumped towards Lin Zion. If it was normal, Lin Zion would have reached out to pick it up, but now he turned sideways to avoid Ziobai, and even teased it. Come and catch me. After the fight between one person and one cat, Lin Zion regretted it because Xiaobai ignored him. Stop making trouble and go back and help you take a bath, please. I'll play with you every day from now on. Let me get you into bed tonight. It took a long time to coax it back. I looked at my phone and saw that it had been almost an hour, so it should be almost done. Then he took Xiaobai home. When they got home, Oda and her daughter had already left. Lin Zion walked to the bathroom and found that the water had been drained. Lin Zion had to put it in again, and then took Xiaobai to take a bath. We still have classes today. Lin Zion got up from the bed, tidied himself up briefly, and then walked to school under Kingsun's watch. Lin Zion was not fooling around for a day or two anymore, but he felt very uncomfortable today because he found that Jinzi Fujiang had been looking at him intentionally or unintentionally. When Lin Zion found out, she would change her gaze. It would have been fine if she was watching alone, but as a popular figure in the class, Jinzi Tomi's unusual behavior attracted the attention of the whole class. In less than 2 classes, the whole class followed her. Even Ryo Hosokawa asked on the phone what happened, but Lin Zion could only say he didn't know and fooled around. His attitude towards Ryo Hosokawa is okay, but as for the other classmates who want to eat melon? Sorry, take your time. Fortunately, Lin Zion has also experienced big scenes, so he won't panic in this situation. Shigeki Aoda came to the teacher's room during lunch break. Let's go to class now. This class happened to be Miyazunri's class. She happened to want to chat with Lin Zion, and the opportunity came to her door. When Miyazunri spoke up, the other classmates in the class began to become more honest, but this was only superficial. After class finally ended, Lin Zion walked to the teacher's room. Only Miyazunri was there. After all, it was mealtime, and teachers also had to eat. Lin Zion pulled a chair from the side and sat on it directly. Why are you looking for me? If there were other people around, they would still pretend. Now it was just the two of them, they were acquaintances, so they could pretend, but it was not necessary. Don't you know what your kid did to classmate Jinzi Tomi? Come on, I haven't done anything. You don't have to deceive me. You can ask Jinzi Fujiang to come over and we will confront him face to face. Lin Zion was fearless when facing Gongzong-ri. Hey, please respect me. I am your teacher no matter what. If I don't respect you, I won't come. If you have something to say, tell me quickly. I still have to eat. You and Tsuzi Tomi are really fine. Why does she keep looking at you? Miyazunri still didn't believe it. How do I know what she is thinking? You can ask her. Lin Zion also didn't understand Jinzi Fujiang's brain circuit. I will do this naturally, don't let me find evidence of your crime. How come I didn't know I committed a crime? Lin Zion couldn't help complaining. After chatting with Miyazunri for a while, Lin Zion went straight downstairs because Hosokawa Ryo was already waiting for him downstairs. Who knew that even Hosokawa Ryo asked this in his first sentence? Lin Zion had no choice but to repeat again that he had nothing to do with Jinzi Tomi. Fortunately, Jinzi Fujiang didn't look at him again after the afternoon, and the matter faded away after 2 days. Lin Zion finally spent the past 2 days peacefully without anything happening, and his computer was also assembled. Lin Zion chose a room with better lighting as a study room and installed the computer. As soon as he got online, he climbed up the wall and went back to take a look. He contacted a few friends and then looked at his book group. 99+ people said they wanted to beat him along the internet cable. Lin Zion didn't understand why the other author groups either pushed for updates or gave birth to monkeys, but why did it end up like this with him? Lin Zion couldn't help but say something. Brothers, I'm back. The crowd, which had been like a pool of stagnant water, immediately began to boil. Author, I like your books very much. Where do you live? I will send you some specialties from our place. You still have the nerve to come back. Pet the author's dog's head. Does this author have any offline gatherings? As long as the author comes, I will pay for all the expenses. The guy upstairs is the provincial Sanda champion. I'll help. I'll go too. I don't have any skills, but my ancestors helped the emperor choose eunuchs and left behind a set of sword skills. Before I finished reading the previous sentence, I was squeezed out by the next sentence. Seeing such enthusiastic netizens, Lin Zion quietly closed the group chat, calmed down for a moment, and reopened it. Do you still want to read the new book? As soon as Lin Zion said these words, the direction of the entire group immediately changed. Think. Dad, stay in line. Dad. Then they all call me Daddy. Due to some force majeure, I may have to change my pen name. Do you have any suggestions? How about calling me the Eunuch King? My name is Suicune. I like Suicune in Pokemon. Author, you are better at water than him. Of course it's called a tentacle monster. Then there were some weird names. After teasing them for a while, Lin Zion felt a lot happier and closed the group called Source of Happiness.